today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. This is my daily driver, a 2011 Toyota RAV4. It does have four-wheel drive, little four-cylinder in it, four bangers for life. We are going to be putting some new legs on her. Her name is Bessie, by the way. So, good old Bessie. I have a Northwoods lift kit that I purchased about a week ago. Finally had the time to put it in, so this is gorgeous. I mean, I needed new shocks and struts probably anyways, so I figured might as well just time to upgrade. You can see here it comes with the shock and strut assembly, so that's nice and easy for me. I can just pull the old ones out, slap these guys in. It also does come with new front sway bar end links, so it gets rid of those. I believe they come with like an Allen key setup or something, but so yeah. This is the dreaded Allen key setup. That middle Allen key always strips out, and the front sway bar end links took me at least 3 hours to get off. It was ridiculous. Also comes with some new rear shock absorbers, of course. I just went with the basic kit. Still was about, $900 for the whole setup, which isn't bad. I mean, for everything it's essentially replacing is a great deal, and it's great quality. So I would have liked to upgrade to the off-road, the Bilstein or Bilstein coil or shocks. That would have been awesome, but that's for another build. Okay, so on to the rear springs. So these are the rear springs for the kit. They match the powder coat blue for the front nicely, so that's awesome. And now, from my knowledge, these are just much stiffer, along with a little bit larger to help lift the rear slightly. As you can see over here, there is this spacer up top, which in unison with the whole kit is supposed to lift it about 1.5 inches. So that's great. Alright guys, quick update. I got the rear wheels off, and I have the nuts and bushings taken off of the sway bar end link. Up next is I'm going to disconnect the shock bracket or brace thing right there. You can see it just goes up to the shock. We're gonna take those guys off, and then we are going to take off this bolt and lower it down. I'll catch up with you guys in a second. As always, I ran into a few issues yesterday. First off, this A-arm bolt right there, that thing was a pain to take off. And then I realized, I don't know how, but I didn't have two 17mm wrenches, so I needed those to get all up in there to take the top shock mounting point off. You can see that bolt. There's really like barely any room between the frame and that bolt, and you got a little area to work with, just enough to slip that bolt out. So had to go get those parts. So that was a whole hold up. And I got this side back together. If we go to the other side, the issue I'm running into today, this is actually the first time I've ever done this, but you guys probably won't be able to see it. Oh my god. Right there. That is cross-threaded. I've never done that before. I know it happens and people do it, but it sucks. It's held up everything even longer. Yep, I went to go get a tap and die set so I could fix the issue from good old AutoZone, and it doesn't come with the size I need. I need a 12mm with 1 1.25 inch pitch or millimeter pitch, and it doesn't have it. So yeah, we are gonna go back to the store, get a better set. I'm gonna make sure it has the right thread pitch and size I need for this freaking bolt. We back. I had to go to 7 different stores to find that one correct tapper. Yeah, ridiculous. So yeah, I had to get a 12 millimeter 1.25 thread pitch, and none of the kits come with that in it, so I had to go to an Ace Hardware to find it. I got the 2 holes that needed to be tapped, or well, the 1 hole that needed to be tapped done. This time I'm going to try putting the bracket on before attaching the shock, so that there's not a bunch of tension for me to deal with when I'm trying to position the bolts. Probably would have been smart to do that the first time, but hey, we're learning together, right? Cool. So I'm gonna get this done, then I'll update you guys on the back once I get everything torqued down. So cool, let's go. I'm gonna go ahead and take some of this penetrating. If you care about the end link that you're taking out, here's where you use that nut on the inside to hold it while you unscrew it from the bottom. Since I'm going to be replacing this completely, I'm just going to break the bolt free and hit it with my impact. Then comes this. So the worst part about these sway bar end links is that you can see right here, they want you to pretty much use an Allen key there to hold that bolt while you back off the nut. That's damn near impossible because it strips every time from how corroded it gets. So I'm probably just gonna end up putting a vice grip where the boot is and just backing it off. So let's get that done. So I did end up jacking the car a little bit and taking the exhaust off just to make my life easier. I got both of the old sway bar end links off right here. You can tell they are pretty dunza. They were busted before I busted them there, and they're just kind of corroded and gross looking. You'll actually notice that this one is actually bent. Yeah, when I was putting the lower control arm there into that bolt, I didn't realize that it was kind of sandwiched up right there. So whoops, that bent a little bit, but hey, that is why we got brand new ones. So like I said, these are the Moog sway bar end links, rear sway bar end links. I kind of tried to go the cheap route, and I think these are like an older version because they have the nut down here. The newer version has basically like a hex piece that goes across the whole shaft here, so you don't have to put your wrench through that little tiny hole to get to it. You can actually just put it right on top. But me trying to be cheap, I bought these, and I should have just spent the extra like 20 bucks on that. That would have made my life easier. I don't know if these come pre-greased. I don't think so, but so cool. Let's get these guys installed. These are a little bit of a bigger bolt. So this is a 15, whereas this was a 14 on the old one. And these were 17, whereas these are a 19. So, I mean, everything seems to match up here. Let's just look at it side by side there. There's one that's not bent. These are actually shorter, but that's fine because these stuck out way too much anyways. So cool. Let's get these installed. Alrighty, update everybody. I got both the sway bar end links in. I couldn't get a torque wrench over that because of the spring, but it's only supposed to be like 55, so I just got it good, nice and tight. At the top there, other side, same. Now the bottom says you just got to torque it to about 22 foot-pounds, so I'm gonna just get that done, and we are all set. Alright, so I just went back to edit the video and realized that I just got all gung-ho, got the back done, and then didn't do anything on the front part of the suspension. Here is the front strut assembly and the front sway bar end link. I've been driving on the suspension for like 3 or 4 weeks now, so it has finally settled. When I first dropped it after installing everything, it was pretty high. It was probably almost like a 2-inch lift, I swear, but then after it settled, it feels like it's a lot more moderate, or I've just gotten used to it, who knows. But I'll stop blabbing. Let's pull it out.